Everyone, how you doing today? My name is Michael Zuber and I am author of One Rental at a Time. I've been investing in real estate for better part of 20 years. I've been studying my market every day for the past 20 years. And I think I have a unique perspective of YouTube channels about what is going on in the real estate market. On this channel, not only do I share my experience, but I interview 8 multimillionaires every week about what is going on in theirs. So I thought what I would do here is I would consolidate, encapsulate, put together all of the material I've been hearing about the eviction crisis, forbearance. I listened to several hours of videos about other channels claiming we are going to have a crash of all crashes. And what I thought I would do here is I would actually share real numbers, the cold hard truths, the half truths that other channels are saying, and give you my history of what is going on in the real estate market. Again, let me be clear. I am still a very active buyer of single family homes. I would like nothing more than for the real estate market I invest in to go down 70%. Yes, the market I have been investing in and bought houses in from 2006-ish, when I sold a house at 264, it goes all the way down to 75 grand. So let me tell you, I would like nothing better than to start buying houses again at 75 grand. I do not believe we are going there, but some people say you are just talking your book, and I'm really not. I would love to see a crash again. I would love to pick up more and more single family homes for 70% off. I just don't see it. So a lot of the channels that I've been watching, again, trying to understand where they're coming from, this is essentially the theme that they're saying. Okay, landlords can now evict in essentially 41 states. That means that landlords are going to rush to eviction court. They're going to evict. They're going to be so desperate for cash that they will either sell or rent to a deadbeat tenant because, again, the tenant quality is not going to be there. At least that is the talk track. So that's evictions. And then there's foreclosures. Everybody wants to see the foreclosures come through because foreclosures equal good deals, right? That is what we learned from 2010. And I bought dozens of foreclosures and a fair amount of short sales as well. So I, again, have been doing this for 20 years and bought actively during the last crisis. But the whole story is, hey, we've got 1.7 million people still in forbearance. All of those are coming. Get out, get out, get out. They're going to all be foreclosures. Well, I'm going to break both the eviction moratorium and the forbearance down and why both of them will likely create a trickle and, frankly, zero discount. So first, let's talk about forbearance. Forbearance was very different this time. Again, I've been sharing with you, I've been investing for 20 years, and I know people personally that were in bad shape in 2006. They called their bank asking for help, and the bank basically flipped them off. The banks basically said, sorry, we can't help you until you're 90 days late. So guess what? In 2006, people got 90 days late, and based on the numbers I've seen, once you were 90 days late, you were 98% certain to lose your home. You just could not recover in that environment. Fast forward to 2020 and 2021, banks are acting exactly the opposite. Banks now are taking phone calls and putting people in forbearance that never needed it, and we will get to that in a minute. In the end, I want it to be very clear that banks are bending over backward, and banks do not want to foreclose. Banks do not want to take 70% haircuts on their assets. But again, banks are going to make a lot of money, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So again, let's talk about forbearance. The following data comes from Black Knight as well as MBA.org. I cite my sources. So we had a peak of 4.3 million people in forbearance. That was really frightening, really big number. Now we have 1.6 million. For those math majors, that's 2.7 million people have cured or resolved their forbearance. That's a big number. We have enough now to look at this to say what happened. Let's go through the numbers. 27.8%, more than 1/4 of all loans, took the late payments or missing payments, took it as a second, stuck it on the back of the mortgage, and now it is a silent second that will be paid off when the house is sold or it is refinanced. Again, you have a $1,000 mortgage payment, you miss 12 payments, bank will take the $12,000, stick it on the back, call it a second, we're good, pay your mortgage going forward, no harm, no foul. 27.8% did that. How about this for the people calling for a forbearance waive, creating huge inventory? 23.9%. That's a whisper short of 1/4 never missed a payment. Yes, folks, people were put into forbearance very quickly. Because why? The banks basically said, hey, were you impacted by this crazy health crisis? And the answer is like, yeah, of course I was impacted. Check, you're in forbearance. But again, 23.9% of people never missed a payment. For again, the math majors out there, we are cured 51% of the mortgages in the forbearance period already at this point. Next, 15.2%. Again, this is from Blacknate. You can watch this as well as MBA.org referenced it. 15.2% of people in forbearance cured by paying partial payments, and they have a payment plan going forward. Now we are at 66%. Next, 10.3% of loans actually got a loan mod or a loan modification. They basically got a lower rate or a longer term. Again, the forbearance period, it's okay. 7.5% of everyone in forbearance sold or refied their home, paid off the lender in full. That leaves us with a whopping 1.5% of loans that cured via a foreclosure or short sale or deed in lieu, where they just mailed in the keys. So 1.5% of 2.6 million is about 39,000 homes. Even if you double 39,000 homes to 78 and then round up to 100,000 homes, that is not nearly enough to be a wave of a problem. Because the other thing that you have about foreclosures that these other channels don't talk about is the foreclosure process. Sure, there are lots of people 90 days late, 180 days late. But here's the deal. They're not in the foreclosure process. The notice of default has not been filed. In the best case, from the day you file the NOD, it takes 200 days to foreclose. Does anybody think we're in the best case right now? For that matter, if you go back and look at the Great Recession as an example, most states averaged over 500 days, with many of the big states, Florida, Vegas, California, New York, 800 days. Again, for the math majors, that is greater than 2 years. So again, these folks could, in theory, live in their house for more than 2 years before the actual inventory hits the market. So I am here to tell you that this foreclosure wave that other channels are talking about right around the corner, A, it's going to be a trickle, and B, it's not showing up until late 2022, best case. Okay. So now let's talk about evictions, and let's use real numbers that you can verify going forward. There's a channel out there talking about the Census Bureau, talking about 6% of people that are tenants are fearful of being evicted. Well, being fearful of being evicted doesn't mean you're going to be evicted. We also have 10.9 million jobs available. We also have a growing economy, so there's a very good chance that people could get jobs. In addition to that, we already have approved $45 billion to go to landlords to make up for lost rent, of which $38 billion has yet to be sent out. So there are a lot of people who are in an eviction crisis that will be made whole by government money. In addition to that, the job picture is getting brighter and brighter by the day. We just had a record low of new unemployment claims reported today of 320,000. So the economy is healing itself. But these numbers are shared with you are half truths. They talk about 3.5 million people are under threat of being evicted. Would it shock you to learn that 3.6 million people were threatened with eviction in 2019? Would that surprise you? Would it also surprise you that 3.6 million filings only beget 1.5 million evictions? An eviction filing, folks, is not an eviction. There are lots of ways to cure the process once a filing is done, and one of them is going to be paying back rent from the government. That looks like a clown. Thanks, Tim. You're a great guy. So again, 3.6 million folks filings and only 1.5 million evictions in 2016. In addition, there's a talk track that these landlords that are desperate for money, who are, in big trouble, they're going to take any tenant out there to start collecting rent, or they will sell their properties. Let's talk about selling their properties as landlords. Yes, some landlords are going to choose to sell. If they bought in the 80s, 90s, they're like, I'm done. I want to ride off into the sunset. Those are going to be great opportunities for the folks that are doing the work. You can create seller finance deals. You can give them monthly income without the management headache. It is a great answer, and some great deals will be done. But that is going to be such a small number in a percentage basis. But there will be great deals done. And I am marketing. I'm sending mailers. I'm sending letters directly to landlords who own property for more than 20 years, asking them if they'd like to save on taxes, maintain their income, and get the deal done this year. So I am marketing to those people right now so that we can get deals done before the year ends up. So let's talk about these properties coming on the market that are going to be in such quantities. Did you know that iBuyers in institutions are hungry for listings like never before? In fact, in Q2, iBuyers, Redfin, Zillow, Opendoor, they bought 15,000 homes in Q2 alone. Institutions, which I will call Wall Street for this example, did them even better. They bought 67,964 homes in Q2. And they are buying with cash, in case you are confused. So for the folks that think there's this wave of inventory and there's going to be all these REO listings and short sales in the MLS, you are being sold a story that is not true. You are being set up. Wall Street, Opendoor, iBuyers, they will all come out and buy for a sliver of a discount. Let's also not forget that in 2021, we have seen rent appreciation of 11% nationally, much higher in some cities. In addition to that, we have seen home appreciation in 12 months north of 20%. So if you are a landlord and you've owned your properties for a long time and your rent went up 11% and the value went up 20%, are you going to be this desperate seller who's not going to know what to do and sell with desperation? Absolutely not. You've been doing this a while. You've rode out the wave. You are not going to be this scared person who's just selling arbitrarily. You are in a strong position. In fact, you are in such a strong position, we only have 1.32 million available homes today. What are we hungry for? We are hungry for affordable first-time homebuyer homes. That's what landlords have. So no, landlords are not going to get desperate. Landlords are going to not do something stupid. And then lastly, let's just put this in all of context. Again, I've been doing this for 20 years. I was one of the buyers in the last crisis. Foreclosures peaked in 2008 at 2.330483, if you want the number. 2,330,483 homes were foreclosed. Not short sale, foreclosed. That was actually 1.8 of all houses with loans. That's a big number. We are nowhere close to that today. But if you really want to dig into the details of what cities could be potentially vulnerable, I have some for you. This data comes from ATOM Data Solutions. That's ATTOM Data Solutions. The highest delinquency state is Louisiana, New York, New Jersey, Mississippi, and Florida. The highest delinquencies by city, not state, by city, are Miami at 12%, New York at 11%, and Las Vegas at 10%. Again, let me remind you that Florida, New York, and Las Vegas had 800-day foreclosure processes in the last crisis. These foreclosures are not showing up anytime soon. So in the end, folks, I believe a lot of people talking about a foreclosure wave, eviction ban being all of these scary things are at best sharing half-truths. But really, they weren't investing in the last crisis. They did not understand the difference of banks. And again, I want to go back to the forbearance. The reason these channels don't appreciate the difference this time is they weren't putting their money at risk like I was last time. Again, remember, 51% of all forbearances were cured by either creating a silent second or the owner never missing a payment. A lot of these forbearances wouldn't have happened under normal circumstances. So again, folks, it's not this big scary thing. Again, let me be clear. I wish there was a crash coming. I would buy a lot more houses at 75% off. I just don't see, I don't know how you get there. We don't have a wave of adjustable rate mortgages. 50% of all mortgages done in 2006 were adjustable. 1.8% of loans originated in 2020 were adjustable. 14.1% of loans in 2006 were neg-am, negative amortization, pick a payment. 0% of loans in 2020. We do not have the recipe. Lastly, credit quality, loan, borrower quality. In 2006, I was declining tenants and they were getting yes answers from banks. Today, I would argue that credit quality is rather tight. You actually have to be able to afford the payment. You actually need reserves. That is not a recipe for a disaster coming. So in the end, I don't see a crash coming. None of the data represent it when you look at the big picture. And then I want to shout out Tim, who left that what I consider nasty comment calling me looking like a clown. Thanks, Tim. You have a great day, Tim. Take care, everyone. Bye.